snapped, and it might have been the speed.
Ladies and gentlemen, it being a little after 6.
Yep.
And it looks like it's, I don't know, quite substantially after 6. 6 minutes after 6. I'll call our budget committee meeting to order at 6 minutes after 6, it looks like. And how about if we stand for the public, for the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And speaking of a dynamically changing agenda, for some reason I keep forgetting to put that on the agenda. Okay, can we have a roll call starting from my left of the members that are here?
Larry Brown.
Peg Heard.
Dennis Woods.
Humphrey Williams.
And Thomas McDougall. It looks like we have a quorum. Let's see. And it looks like on the agenda we say we're going to talk about the next steps on it. Yep, we're working there. Okay. Next steps in the budget process. We got the form signed. I apologize for, I thought the MS 27 and 727 need to be plugged in.
Not yet.
Okay, all right.
I'm just kidding.
MS 27 and 727, I thought they were supposed to be signed after deliberative session, and they were supposed to be before. That's the town and school budgets that get sent into the state. But we got them signed. That's done. Our next step is basically deliberative session, and then we get to start all this over again. Deliberative session is the 8th of February. I believe at 9 and at 1, starting with the town at 9 o'clock and school at 1 o'clock. And then we get to do this all over again. A couple of lessons. It was mentioned that we might want to add within our bylaws so we don't forget about the MS 27 and 727. Like I said, I hadn't forgotten about them. I thought they were after the deliberative session. So. I think that's something to do. Mr. Humphrey.
Yeah, if I could, I just figure if we put the links to the location,
Yeah.
and that's the big thing. I mean, then it's because it's a live thing, and after I finally searched and found, and the reason I sent it out is the document coming from the Department of Revenue changes every year.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have that in there. If we put it into the bylaws that's where there's the location,
Yeah.
then we don't have to worry about. And nothing, Bob Carrier had everything, as we know, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna mention
yeah,
Bob's name
yeah.
because he had a piece of paper,
Yeah,
but the thing
yeah.
is we shouldn't just be relying on a piece of paper that somebody like Bob had. We should have
Yeah.
something that we can all get to at any point in time.
Yeah.
So,
And-
and that should be for the public to understand that too.
Yeah,
So,
and it's they publicize. It's made.
Right.
Yeah. So that,
The
Yes, sir,
simplest
Mr. Brown.
thing to do is to put an electronic 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and you just set in the due and deadline dates for various topics throughout the year. That way, anyone coming on as chair will have that template to work from.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, to touch on that, it's actually an 8.5, Larry. It's actually an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that we can print right out.
Electronic papers.
Yeah, so-
No trees were.
No trees were killed to print it out electronically.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you
The
what,
best
you're
of both
definitely
worlds.
electrons.
You want to print it on paper, it's another story.
All right. So that's the next steps in our budget process. For those that got, time out of the day to sign the forms, I do appreciate it. Apologies, I got a little bit snarky in my email. All I can profess to is lack of sleep and no coffee. I saw the email before I had my coffee in the morning. Okay, review the town expenditure reports. Our selectman's rep isn't here. I think I had those up on the Google thing.
And you did,
And yes, Mr. Humphrey.
if I may, it was funny because I did go in and I grabbed it, and I actually have something I want to share with the group afterwards because I downloaded it to Excel,
Yep.
and I wanted to compare it, the department levels and everything else, to see how we went. Remember, I projected everything back
Yeah.
in September. And my projections, I should say, from September said that they were going to spend 90.21% of the budget. As of December 31st, they spent 90.44. So history and the data that we've been collecting shows it's right on, it's almost right on the money. If you go to their information, though, it looks like they have more money left over, but they have warrant articles and encumbrances in here as well
Yeah,
as what
yeah.
they had what they had for a budget and what they
Yeah.
spent. You have to subtract that out to get to the default budget to show that.
Yes.
And
Uh,
I think
Mr.
you
Brown.
will also find that 90% will be further impact through 131, where bills and other reconciliations.
Yeah, but as they. as
There's
they
a few,
reconcile,
there's a few that come in.
Yeah.
But that's the encumbrances that you're talking about, right?
I think you got encumbrances and warrant articles that we'll still be doing, and I pulled those out already because that amounts to over 300,000, almost $340,000, and I think it comes out of that is where that money will come in from.
Yeah,
So-
what I'm not sure about is how they handle, like, the electric bill comes in, I don't know if that's handled with an
Yeah.
encumbrance, or if that's just, I don't know.
I think Larry may be right, there's
Just
still some
January.
things that may be
Yeah,
coming
but-
in, but we don't know how that's gonna be, but
Yeah.
we're still pretty close, considering
Yeah.
we were doing it based on September
Yeah.
data, so, and history, so.
Yeah, and that's the good news, that sort of validates the approach that was taken with,
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's the big thing, is that it's real live data, and it validates what the approach that was taken.
What was-
And
what's
almost
the
every
phrase?
department, and almost every department, most of the departments
Yeah.
are right in line with where we were projecting, so.
Yeah.
There's a few that are off a little bit, but most of them are pretty close.
Yes, sir. Did you have something, Larry?
Well, yeah, linear expenses can be estimated perfectly. For example, the $12,000 cost for the new heating and air conditioning system for the townhouse has to be factored in, and a similar cost for the repairs to the boiler at the library have to be factored in. That's where the closing the books effective nominal 131 comes in. But we haven't talked about is 3.5, which is the budget process and expenditure reports. Once again, it would be useful either for the town side or for Peg, who has heard this song before, if the presentation by the town and school for the month, when we get it, if it's going to be, when are we going to meet for this year? Do we know yet? What day?
For which?
Monthly. When?
The fourth, right now we're fourth Tuesday?
Fourth Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday
That's
of the month?
perfect, because it gives the town and school practically the entire month to review what I've always called the outliers. And the linear stuff is simple. The outliers is what I would like to hear from the school and town. What went exceptionally well, we're ahead of the ball or behind it. Outliers, plus and minus.
Okay. Anything else on our town expenditure reports, revenue report that came out? Ed?
I never saw it. You know, I love that Google thingy wing. So I obviously have no questions because when I don't see it,
Thingy?
Humphrey?
Well, the only other thing is and it's been inconsistent, I understand our town administrators had some different things, but getting them to us, the expenditure reports to us, I mean, we were getting them in Excel, we sometimes get them, sometimes don't. We need to make sure that we figure out a way to make that consistent, so we do get them ahead of time to
Yeah.
review, so it's not just, let's look at them at the meeting,
Yeah.
yeah. And I know Nate sends them out to all of us. And I'm assuming that you get them and then you put them in the Google thingy, and I cannot always get them
Yep.
from the Google thingy. So I don't always get to see them. So I don't know if because they used to send them via email
Yeah,
They
does-
were.
to everybody.
Yeah,
I think Nate does.
yeah,
doesn't
Nate
he?
sent them.
Nate does.
Does he not
Always
copy
But
you on
the,
it?
I think.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the school
Oh,
does, so
yeah.
everybody
Okay.
can do whatever they want with them.
That is something I can send, or we can start having them sent out via email. I was just trying to reduce the amount of. stuff
I
that's in
know,
the
I
email.
know. Well, just send it
But-
to me via email then, please.
Okay, we can do that.
At least it's still electronic.
Yeah.
True,
Yeah.
thank you.
We're not
Yeah.
passing out paper.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Well, I think if we do that, I believe that the town administrator will do it. He was sending them
Yeah,
out
yeah,
to
yeah,
more
yeah,
than
yeah,
just
yeah,
you,
yeah,
so
yeah,
he
we
can
can-
he can send it to all of us
Yeah, we
via
could ask him to send it to everybody.
send an Excel file out just like Nate does.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, there should be a way to have him send that also to the Google Drive, and I'll figure that out. Actually, I'm probably not gonna figure it out. Oh. Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns about did I see your hand up? Oh, okay. You must have been
Just scratching your head.
All right, and any questions about the school reports? I will confess I did not look at the school reports at all. So I'm sorry, Peg.
You just broke her heart?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
said I'm going home.
At least
you
I, at
find any
least I,
issues on the
uh,
school
signed
report?
up to it.
I never find any issues now. One of the things, the insurance is still really messed up. I mean, I obviously go through the whole thing every time. And Nate is trying what's happening. This new system is still crazy. But the masking,
Yeah.
it's like it takes it out and it puts it back in and then it removes it and it, puts it somewhere else. But he's trying to get everything so that it comes out of, your salary is $1,000 a month, your health insurance is, your FICA is, your this is, your that is. So it's all coming out of your salary line rather than 47,000 different lines. However, the good news, if you want some good news, Primex with unemployment and workers' comp, they are giving us a credit, which is pretty darn good, I think.
What's the reason for the credit?
It's a credit so that we don't have to pay any more this year, and then if there's anything left, it'll move over to next year too.
Purpose behind the
Because we
credit.
don't have high unemployment,
Okay.
or workers' comp, so they charge so much, and then they just kind of look at it and say,
Okay, so it's based on how much it's been used.
right,
Don't
right.
have a lot of workman's comp claims or,
Yep.
okay, so.
So you get
Logging, fishing, and maritime are the three most dangerous occupations that have the highest workers' comp.
So you
Okay.
get a bill
Funding.
at the beginning of the year,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you pay monthly on that.
Yeah, and then
And
they
they
just say,
evaluate mid-year,
Yeah.
and if you're
And
not
this-
using
yeah.
it,
and this is the second year that we've gotten that, so. So thank you, school personnel, for
No, paper cuts were low.
Yeah.
paper cuts, no.
Yeah, yeah.
That,
And Peg, when you do get a chance to talk with Nathan, I know he was struggling on, like you said, because of the masking issues, and one of the comments was about the benefits, the FICA area and all that. And find out when he thinks they may have that aligned. I mean,
Please expound on that and tell me
Okay.
what you're asking.
He had told me that when he went to, when they were, well, he didn't tell me, he said it in your meeting. That was
Yeah.
how that the encumbrances for the FICA and some of the other benefits came in higher than he expected it was gonna come in, as far as the programming, not saying so
Okay.
that's part of the programming problem
Okay.
that he's having. So, it's, at this point, I haven't seen anything since that December data, but I do know that was one of the comments, that he didn't expect that they were gonna have to encumber the amount of money that it was projecting at that point. So, it's, when does he expect that will be straightened
All
out?
right, so you're asking for corrected encumbrances.
Correct.
Okay, because I know you and I went around and around and around and around, and why FICA is not showing up as 7 point, whatever it is, 6525.
That's not what my question, that's not my
Okay,
question.
and that's what I wanted
This
to
is
make
based
sure.
on his information from that
Okay.
meeting.
Okay,
so it was coming in higher.
That's why he thought that they weren't gonna have to encumber as much. That was where the surplus information came from. During that meeting, he said that they've encumbered it, and that's where it went from 1,800 down to, 1.8 million down to $500,000 left. There was 1.3 million was as they were making the adjustments in the benefits areas. But that he thought that, he knows that was off, and it appeared to be higher than what it was supposed to be, so he was gonna go back and try to figure out how to make those adjustments.
yeah, because I know
So,
FICA is one of those masking
yeah.
horrible things, and
Well, I just know that
I hate
it's,
this program.
this is,
He hates
this
this
is our,
program.
this is our last regular meeting before the election and everything else?
Nope.
Isn't it?
Nope.
No, we don't have
Nope.
one. Oh, no, I'm sorry,
February.
second to last one. We got one in February.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But getting ready, I'd like to be able to see that information will be correct as we, we
Okay.
go forward, so the next group of people come in, we know we're not off,
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah, a program to mask the real data. The,
For the people.
Yeah, a small point on school program costs. There have been changes in the federal regulations on school nutrition programs. It is now down to those schools that serve breakfast instead of a cup of soup, may now do a half cup of soup and the equivalent of a good trans fat apple fritter. You can now have a pizza and burgers a la carte every day, plus French fries available every day. Due to lobbying by the potato industry out of Idaho, the amount of sodium in the school diet is now doubled, and starch and trans fats will be going up. And oddly enough, the Trump administration announced those changes on Michelle Obama's birthday. A coincidence, but that is probably going to cut the school lunch program costs. Obesity, one of the major health problems of childhood.
Okay, one of the things that I know has been coming up or is asked about grants, and if anybody listened to our school board meeting, we did have a public hearing to accept grants. All right, there was $28.50 from the Greater Seacoast United Way to provide stipends and supplies to support Milton's Youth to Youth group. $32.95 from Robotics Education Development Program, and the students did just compete. Didn't say whether they walked away with any prizes or not, but they're getting there, which I think is great. And then there was unanticipated revenue of up to $150,000 from Comprehensive Support and Improvement Work Grant for the purpose of hiring consultants, purchasing intervention programs, and increasing our after-school program. So, and we do get grants. People do apply for them, and if they're applicable, I can spell it, but I can't say it. APPLICABLE. You say it. Then, we do apply for them, and, it's like a 50-50 chance of getting them.
Try warranted. If they're warranted, you're all set.
Oh.
It's easier to say than applicable.
But,
But I like that word.
yeah.
If I could say it.
The robotics program is wonderful. My son was in it. They built it with 20 pounds of 2x4s. They had a 25-pound capacity motor, and unfortunately, the challenge was to move 10 pounds.
Hey, close
Little
enough.
bit
But
off. See,
it was
math didn't fit in the way it was supposed to.
Well, they didn't know about the 10 pounds, but it was a great learning experience all in all.
Yeah, I think robotics is great. And the one thing, it used to be just STEM, and they've now added STEAM to add arts, which I think is incredible. So,
So
anyway.
what robotic program is it? Part of the first program, first robotics run by Dean Kamen, or is it Legos or?
yeah,
Okay, so not sure.
both, yeah. Whatever you say, Tom. No, when I was at the elementary school, I saw what they were doing, and I think they did have some Legos, but they had other stuff too.
Okay, yeah, I know
So-
Legos has a big
Yeah.
elementary school program.
Yep.
I forget what grades they are. And I know that there's a first robotics program that's in middle and high school. I don't know if they're down in the elementary school level yet or not.
Okay, yeah, no, this is the elementary. The after-school program at the elementary school, it's starting the third session. It's either this, I think this week they started it. But we had to add another session because kids were just signing up, and kids don't always get their
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
choice, but it's full, absolutely full, every single session.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a great program for the kids.
Good.
Keeps them out of trouble,
Yeah.
learning outside of the classroom, so.
All right. Okay, any other questions about school reports, school-related stuff? Budget-wise? All right, now,
Ooh.
yes,
Ooh.
yes.
Did everybody hear about the new class being offered at the high school? 3 credits, college credits. It's a business class, and Penny Baker is accredited by Granite State. I was going to say Granite State, and they have approved the curriculum, so they're offering that starting in the fall, and kids will end up for no cost at all with 3 college credits. So
Good.
And the course is called?
that's business 202, 303, 301.
Oh, 125?
Yeah, 125, that's it. It's got to be better than 101. But anyway, that was just very, very exciting that, we are offering.
Oh, good, good. Has there been, well, I guess a little early yet to tell how much interest there is in it.
Right,
But it's
right.
next year.
But
Now, will it take the place of like any math requirement or anything, or?
nope.
Okay.
No, I'm going to just say Business 101 is offered. And this would be like maybe the next class. So an add-on to 101.
Hmm.
So probably I'm going to say an elective.
Okay, all right.
Because the math and science and English and history requirements have not changed, so they're all the
All
same.
right, okay.
I
So,
have the program of studies here if you're interested.
oh, do you really? Of course she does.
Ask and you shall receive.
And what is it?
I'm looking.
Okay.
So continue while I.
Oh, all right. Continue.
Excuse me.
Well, I was gonna say, the next thing on our agenda is approval
Oh,
of
my
the
God.
minutes.
Yeah.
Which yes, Mr. Brown.
But, since the minutes become the formal legal record of each meeting, it's not appropriate to do them as one motion.
Oh, darn.
Yep.
For convenience, my motion, which I've written down so I can say it more than once, is I move to approve the minutes of 11/26/19 with such corrections and additions noted by consensus, spelling and punctuation at the call of the clerk. That way we don't have to make two motions, and if our clerk can spell better than we do, that takes care of it.
I don't know. I mean, I can spell, I can't say the word, but I can spell it.
I'll get that from
Well,
you,
if we
but I've
can
got most of
get
it.
a, get a second for
I
discussion.
will give you a second for discussion.
And I will be back in just a second.
There you
I've got
go.
a
He's got them.
handful of minutes printed.
Handful of minutes.
Oh, good. With all the corrections showing?
Yeah,
Oh,
I have
good.
a handful of minutes printed.
That's
I corrected
because we.
2 sets of minutes.
Yeah,
You
there
are
was-
so fortunate you were not here, like, I was here. There was a chair who had the most elegant command of detail. That person
Oh,
was
yeah.
not killed due to the generosity of the other
Yeah.
board members.
And I think there's only 2 that you did.
Leave
I
it.
think the
It
other
could be.
ones did.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna tell me back when you were doing them, they were etched in stone.
No, there
But-
isn't.
They were, but that's all right.
My favorite phrase is, and a frank discussion was held on that point.
Look at
Okay,
what we got.
19,
Because I think,
26.
ain't home for
Okay.
Dennis.
They're still warm.
Yeah,
This is November 26th,
I've got them,
right?
I've got them
Yes.
here electronically
November
anyways.
I got them here.
So how do we know
I was
what
gonna-
changes were made?
Yeah,
Yeah, I made no change to those.
that one, I do know there were a couple changes that didn't save. And if we just mark it, and I know Sherry can make that change, I've got it up here.
Oh, my God.
Just give me the date.
11/20, the
11/26.
November 26th one. I just wanna see what you have.
Yeah, yeah.
And whether or not the change actually was in there.
Okay. I'll give you these were printed fresh.
Because Sherry actually sends them to me
Yep.
because I have tried in the Google thingy to make corrections and it just looks at me and goes, eh.
Okay.
The ones that you
see
sent
what's
back to me, I did make,
Yep.
but you're the only one that I got something
Nope,
from.
looks like you
Oh,
got it.
good.
I can tell you right from that first,
All right.
it's, the changes I had are there, I can tell by that opening
All right.
mark. Because the negative was bold at the time. That was how I knew
Yep.
something changed.
The negative was bold. It's still bold.
No, I know that, I'm just saying, that was
Oh.
a part of it, that
Oh,
what happened
oh,
was,
oh,
it tried to get changed, I tried to change it like
Okay.
2-3
Oh,
times, we were
okay.
having problems where it wouldn't
yeah.
allow us to make changes. So I went, okay.
So did you
It's
make the
n-
change to
it's-
the
it's-
bold
it's
or
in-
not?
No,
Or-
it's,
okay.
no, that
Okay.
just showed me that it was actually,
Okay.
the change actually took place.
Yeah.
Who's on first?
Who's on for second? Yeah,
I'm on third.
I don't know.
Exactly.
He was
So-
in the minors. I don't remember
So I guess
exactly. I think he
we've
was in
already
the
had
minor
that,
leagues.
I don't have anything else to discuss on that.
No, no,
That's taking a peek.
forget it.
That
take
was,
me
that
all
was
night.
very, that one's lengthy. Oh, yeah, no, I went through that thing front, back, up, and then I just-
Okay.
Well, I
So-
usually do with anything relating to the school, making sure that stuff is,
Yeah, that was very, very lengthy set of minutes.
All right, so we have a motion and a second approving the minutes of November 26th. I heard no corrections. All those in favor?
aye.
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 Those opposed, chair votes aye, it's unanimous.
Okay. Then, may I make the same motion for the minutes of 12/4/19?
Okay, I might want to think about that. We did not have a meeting on 12/4.
12/19.
12/4. Oh, 12/19?
12/4/2019
is listed in here.
That's what you say.
Yeah. We did not have a meeting on 12/4.
So it's
I
the
was
12/19.
I
Yeah.
retract my
I,
motion.
I went by the dates I had in my calendar when I made the agenda because I
We
was
skipped
forget
one,
what time
yeah,
it
we
was.
skipped
Yeah.
one of them at one point.
I think
Then
I think the only
two.
thing,
I
we
make
did,
this-
I believe that the next set of minutes is 12/19.
Okay.
19 or 18?
12/19/19 is what we have here on the drive.
18 is also,
Yeah, but
I
what's
don't
that?
see a 12/18 set of minutes.
12/27.
okay, and
We have a set of, I know we have a set of minutes right on the drive from
Yeah.
12/19.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanna just make
Hard
sure which one it
copies.
was.
Well,
So-
yeah, what I'm saying is, I think we had a meeting on the 18th. I don't have those minutes here.
Right, okay.
I've got to find, and I think Bob took those minutes. I've got to get those from Bob. I looked in my email last night and I realized, oh, I don't have the minutes up on the drive. And so I realized then that I didn't have them, so.
And the one that we have on the 19th is a workshop, 2020-2021 proposed workshop.
Okay, so I see two sets of minutes.
I'm trying to figure
What do you
One
say?
on the 19th and one on the 27th,
Yep,
right?
Right,
yep. So the 19th is the one that's up for
is next.
bid now.
For bid.
Now,
For approval.
Let's see if
Mm.
see if it
That's-
sells.
For bid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bid $1.
you're gonna win it.
Thanks.
trying to figure out is the one that's done, the one that's online that we can edit does not look like the one that's in PDF format.
How about the one that was
The
just
other
printed
one-
out?
So I'm trying to figure out which one you've got.
I printed out the one that we can edit.
I think
Yep,
this
that's
is,
the one, okay. That's the one I'm looking at online here.
yeah, this is one that both are editable. I mean, one is editable.
Yeah, and the other one.
Edible?
inedible.
Yeah.
Okay, are they both the same?
Right, it
I
wasn't-
guess maybe that's the
I'm saying they
question.
weren't, but
They, no, I think they are, this thing, the heading of it was different.
yeah, I was gonna say they should be the same.
Yeah,
There
I
wasn't,
think it's
there
just that
wasn't much to it.
the
No,
one on,
they
the one, the
look fine.
PDF file just has has the town logo and that on it, and it's just a little,
Yeah.
the format was just off a
Oh,
little bit,
okay.
so.
I don't
But it
know.
appears to be the same.
You don't have no
So,
logo.
we didn't have a motion
Yes,
on
you
this
did.
yet, right?
Yes, Larry, I think you made,
With-
Larry started to make the
Yeah,
motion, but
Larry,
we
I'll
didn't have the
second.
date.
Which,
I'll second
On
For the
19th.
19th.
on the 19th, so
Yes.
moved.
Second. Seconded.
And that is to approve the minutes of the 19th with
Such
corrections as need to be
corrections
made.
and additions noted by consensus, spelling and punctuation at the call of the clerk.
And I see none.
I don't see anything.
All right, and hearing no corrections.
Actually, the only thing I would do is make sure that where it says the school, we shouldn't just have first names, it should have the
I think what it was is I wasn't sure
Right.
what their last names were.
All right, so we'll need the last names, and
I will,
Yeah.
I'll update.
I know you've got
Okay.
those here, so yeah,
So
they
I'll
shouldn't,
update.
it shouldn't be listed as just the first names were there, so.
That was the names that I knew.
Yep, no, that's fine.
And you're absolutely right.
So that's the only,
Yep. All right, so, other than that addition of adding last names, are there any other corrections on the minutes of December 19th, 2019? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes with
Aye.
aforementioned changes?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, it's unanimous.
I move to approve the minutes of 12/27/19 with such corrections and additions noted by consensus, spelling and punctuation at the call of the clerk.
I'll second that.
That's a
For
little.
discussion.
This is a little one for discussion. This is a small one, so
What was that?
I don't see any changes necessary. You were concise on this.
Be nice if I could find it.
There were corrections.
Oh my God, there were some
I don't
concern.
know, it's right here though,
Oh, there was some
Yeah.
concern, okay.
so.
He got this computer set time out after like 30 seconds.
So this is like a 2-minute meeting?
It was a short meeting.
6:02 to 7:05.
Yep.
It's not too
Who
bad.
approved, who moved that?
Larry made the
Larry made the
motion and
motion.
I seconded that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't a very long meeting.
No.
Just an hour. And there's a PDF form, assuming that will have all the corrections in it.
Yeah, the only one I see online is the PDF.
Doug has a last name there.
Yep,
As does Earl. Good.
yep. It's good.
That reads and reads.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I hear no changes. All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair votes aye, it's unanimous.
So
That
that
was 12:27.
that brings us to,
Three.
I move to approve the minutes of 1/3/2020 with such corrections and additions noted by consensus, spelling and punctuation at the call of the clerk.
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay, Larry motion, Humphrey seconded.
All right, one of those.
And is this the one that's got your name spelled, one of them's got your name spelled wrong?
Yeah, there's three, you're gonna have to fix it, because there's 3 copies currently on the Google Drive.
Yeah.
There were
There's
4.
there's a Word document, a
There's-
Google
There's 2,
document, and a...
and another Word document.
There's 3.
There's 2 Word documents, and I think this is the one this is the
I
one
don't even have
where,
those here.
if you notice here, I made changes, and it wouldn't
PDF.
save.
Wouldn't
I
save
had
it?
to save
Oh,
it
okay, something
separately.
else, yeah.
So the corrections are in red,
Well,
where I had fixed like the word guidance and a few others, but and I don't know if the others, I'm gonna go back and find out
You
if
know
on the
what?
other
Wait a
copy
minute.
it was changed.
I do have those. What did we just approve?
The one in the middle is wrong on the
No, we
drive.
just did the 19th of December and the 27th.
And then there's
Okay, you know what?
the,
I didn't have the 27th.
and then
Maybe I
there's
didn't. I was
the
looking at
Google
yours.
Doc
Yeah.
is
Okay, so I've got these.
corrected too.
Oh my God.
So the one on the left has, the first one has the corrections that need to be made, they weren't accepted.
Okay, so,
And then under the Google Docs, it actually changed. It didn't,
Okay,
it
so-
didn't edit, it didn't leave the suggestions, it actually appears to have
change
been
it. Okay.
edited.
So the Google Documents document is correct.
That's what I'm,
Okay.
that's what I'm gonna,
That's what I printed out.
That one's
That's what I
okay.
printed out.
Yep, I wanna make sure right now by
Where's
looking at
Bob?
both, operation, maintenance, yes, the
Okay,
Google
I'm
Doc
seeing
one
those
is
changes,
correct.
okay.
Okay.
That
I know, it's like,
Okay.
I give up.
For the,
Why does that say hold on,
Look, you see?
I'm looking at,
And it says January
I gotta
18th.
go back and make sure.
that,
There's January 3rd and there's January, yeah, we've got another one for the
Yeah,
18th too.
There's,
There were 3 January 3rd
Yeah,
documents.
there was
Right,
a
but he
Word
just pulled
document,
up
a
an
Google
18.
document,
The
and
Google
a
document has all the corrections
but there's
made.
also a document in there that says it's the 3rd, but if you look at the top of the page, it says Saturday, January 18th.
And they're the exact same.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
minutes.
there's a fourth
That
document.
might have been when I started from this to make the,
These are the correct
There's a fourth
ones.
document.
It's okay.
that's correct, okay, good.
Yeah, there
That
are
might be.
there are 4 documents dated the 3rd.
Right,
So the.
but the Google document is the corrected version.
What
The
got
two
printed.
pages with the dark bar at the
Yep.
bottom are correct.
That's what it
Yes.
appears
Yeah.
to be, yes, they
Yep.
said draft, those are the
Yep.
right ones.
This
Yep.
is supposedly the correct one.
Up, yeah,
trademark at the bottom.
yep, okay,
So
phew.
this is the one that is correct.
Yes.
The only
Correct.
thing I need to change is the names for the. Oh, okay.
No, you don't have to,
Yeah, that-
no.
No, this one's got the
That
name,
needs
the
the
one from the
last
3rd
names.
has got the right names on
Oh,
it.
no, that's, I'm
It
sorry.
has.
On the Google document one, it
Yeah.
had the first and last
Yeah.
name.
Right, right.
this-
The,
That one looks okay.
okay, the two
Sherry.
pieces of paper I just gave to Sherry with the black bar at the bottom that I marked by hand, correct at the top, are correct.
Yes.
Good. Hey,
Okay.
who's on first?
I think we're all set on that then.
Can I make a
Okay,
suggestion,
any-
Tom?
Um,
We need to do these a little bit more frequently and,
Oh, yeah.
This is
you have
crazy.
no complaint from me on that.
Um,
Your chairman was laxing. As long as some of the meetings went, it was.
Yeah.
But Peg, I understand.
Okay.
All right. But then you lucky to have somebody else to chair. And, okay, so,
That moves us to 114?
Well, we haven't finished, we haven't voted.
We haven't
on the
voted.
third.
Vote.
oh,
Aye.
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 And chair votes aye.
Then-
For January 3rd, that was 5
So
to 0.
that brings us to January 14th,
Which I've got to figure out.
and I move to approve the minutes of January 14th, 2020, with such corrections and additions noted by consensus, spelling and punctuation at the call of the clerk.
I will
Second.
There you go.
Okay,
will let
slipped
Peg
right
say
in
that.
there.
Sorry.
That's all right, I'll let say
They beat you.
That's good.
All right.
Now,
It
we have
looks
2
like
sets of
they-
minutes on this one too,
They are only,
but one of them is,
Yes, there are 2 sets of minutes for the 14th because I did the school and then I did,
Is it
town.
school?
okay.
right, I'm just trying to figure out, we got which one's which time-wise.
I see a copy here of just the town.
And I don't, yeah, I don't,
I may not have realized that the other one was
Right, we've
a,
got 2.
Committee to vote on school and town warrant articles, so
is that January 18th, what?
this is the.
January 14th.
January
18th
14th.
is
Oh
the
my
bottom
God,
line.
and all,
The difference
Yeah,
being,
I didn't
Difference
realize
is-
that they were, that there were 2 minutes for the same,
right,
Yeah,
right.
okay, because all I have are the,
Right, the first, there's one that's at 6:10, I mean, it started at 6:10, that's the school, and then we've got the, because we
I don't have
reversed,
it.
yes, we
I don't
reversed
have
it
the
to start the
6:10.
school.
okay, I'm just saying, I do not have the 6:10.
but I already made your corrections, Peg, on both of those.
Okay,
yeah, okay.
We have a page 1.
And when, by the
well,
time I
first
saw
of
it,
all,
corrections,
as
I think it already.
purpose, no,
was
the
already here.
changes aren't there.
For what?
Discussion, page 2, partway down, it's all in bold. Approve the operating budget as proposed, not as purposed.
Yeah, I made that change.
Okay,
I
it's
don't know
not
why
showing here.
It's not showing on there.
Yeah, it shows purposed in
Yeah.
here, that's right.
I'll just.
All right, so you
I
made my, thank you,
I
ma'am.
made your changes.
Thank you, I feel good, I feel fine now. I will approve them.
I did
Okay.
find,
Yeah.
I also did find the, section, in the program of studies,
Oh, okay.
if you wanted to.
Well,
deviate-
let's do this and then
I'll
keep
go
it.
back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we approving both sets here?
Do we have a page one?
Let's,
I was
Let's
gonna
have
say, we
separate
ought to take,
motions.
we should, I think we should have it, because the school one should be
Yeah,
separate
yeah,
from the
they're
town
separate,
one.
yeah.
They're two different
For some reason,
meetings.
I'm missing page one.
Okay, I will make a motion then to approve the school minutes.
With appropriate changes.
The changes have all been made.
okay,
With the
I will-
changes made sent to Sherry.
I will second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, it's unanimous. School.
Now we do the town.
You know what, though, is that the one I changed the title? Okay, because it was
It's got a bunch of
confusing.
things that, up at the top too, it's got text,
Yeah.
so there's. some
Right,
things
but I
there.
actually changed, when I saved it, to make the changes, I saved it as the school board, or the school,
Ah.
because
Okay,
it just
that-
said
that's-
meeting.
That was something, must have gone back to Sherry, because I
Yeah,
didn't see that.
but she's, I thought she posted them on the, but I guess not.
Yeah, she sent them to me, she, for some reason, wasn't able to post them to the Google thing.
That was the original one.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So I'll just have to go back and see why they didn't get updated in the Google thingy.
Okay.
I-
Everybody calls it the Google thingy, come
So
on.
I'm on the town one now. I will make the motion to accept the minutes for the town meeting for 1/14/2020 as written. Looks like all the changes have been made.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any more discussion on the,
Oh, it's got all the votes.
Good. The 114 has been put to bed. There's no.
Oh, we have-
Once we've
The school has-
finalized the vote on this
we've got the
one.
town right now,
Okay. Yep.
and I believe the town is what I printed out. I didn't realize they were two separate.
Yeah.
Okay. And
And considering this is just actually the vote more than anything else on this,
Yeah.
it should be fine.
Next one, the 18th. Oh my God.
that takes us to the last minutes.
No, well, we still got to vote on this one.
Gotta vote on that.
So you're still working on that. All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, all in favor.
Yeah.
We're waiting for Tom to say it. Aye.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
And chair votes aye. I think I heard 4 ayes, chair votes aye, that is unanimous. Approving the
my.
minutes for the town of 1/14/2019.
Yeah, the town one first.
Okay.
And
Then that
All right.
brings us to the last one.
The last, yeah, there's
Is-
two on the 18th, too.
This would be the town warrant public hearing minutes
Yeah.
of January
18th.
18th, 2020. I move to accept the Budget Committee town warrant public hearing minutes with such corrections and additions by consensus, spelling and punctuation at the call of the clerk.
I will second that.
Okay.
And I have,
I
I don't know if
haven't
anybody's,
Warrant.
has anybody made corrections to these? Because
No,
I
it needs
just,
to- needs to-
There's
I know
probably a
this-
whole bunch of them.
Yep,
At the
sorry.
At the start of the
Mhm.
top 2020 town warrant is with an A, not an E.
I am not
after that.
surprised. For
and
some
we had to
reason,
set
I
up a
think-
screed.
Are you changing it?
I'm gonna
You
change
just
it here
okay.
online.
All right, I was just getting ready to change it.
Whether-
Oh,
Changed.
good. You
Go ahead.
changed.
No, you go
I
ahead.
didn't
Go ahead.
change it. I was just,
Oh,
I
no.
just
Oh.
clicked on it.
Oh, okay.
So I was waiting for, I was just making a note of it.
Yeah.
I will let you make
All
the
right.
change.
Do you wish to include the Article A, on Article 2, comments were made about a possibly misleading tax impact statement?
Now say that I'm
About
Made about-
a possibly misleading tax impact statement,
A.
yes.
Oh, adding.
I'm not sure where you're at.
I'm on
Article 2, comments, with the Article 2, which is on
Line
page
one.
1,
page
Just
just
1.
wants the word A. possibly.
Yeah, a possibly misleading tax impact statement. I mean,
A.
if you're,
Whoops.
if we're going to,
If I
if we're
get
going to
down here.
respell
Yeah, as
warrant-
opposed to, if you don't put it in here, it sounds like we're misleading someone,
Yeah,
yeah.
about A possibly misleading. Okay, done?
Okay, way up at the top, Chairman motioned that a 5-second recess be called
Fixed it.
to allow, you got that already? So it's no longer
At-
screed?
At,
Minute?
yeah, instead of AB, it's now at.
How about screed? First line.
Screed.
Oh, unfortunately, that's spelled.
Set up the screen.
Yeah.
Screen.
Screen's a word, so it accepts
I
it.
know.
Well, I can't get
Brain
any
check is better
Google
than spell check.
documents to spell check.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
what I'm going wrong,
Back,
but
back, there you go.
of course I confuse spell check, so, okay,
And
I got that.
screen.
You can watch it right there to verify that he's making.
Oh,
appropriate
really?
changes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you can.
All
Okay,
right.
next.
Oh, let me make sure here.
I think under Article 3, question about,
Maybe is
should say why it's funded. It should say after the why. Why it, IT apostrophe, yeah, Article 3. And by the way, we need to be consistent too. It
Yeah,
says
yeah.
that the
Yeah,
Article 2
I-
and Article 3 should just have the numbers in there.
Yeah. I just
You noticed, you
just
noticed it?
saw that.
Yeah.
There we go. Fix that now. Question about
Question about
why.
why it is, or it's funded by the
Well,
police.
why it is funded.
Yep.
It is funded by police department. Okay.
Oh,
Yep,
It's
yep,
big,
yep.
it's fast.
Question was raised about.
Did
Google
you
also
want
does
a-
By the
this
way,
kind of
okay,
thing.
Article 5 should be,
Yeah.
so that you won't have the little
It says meeting
squirrely
was
line
called
about the
back
number
to
of
order.
residents.
Okay.
That's why that's
Says-
doing that.
All right,
That
that's, hey,
potentially could be
oh.
called to order, not back to order.
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
how much information do you want to include for the benefit of someone reading this after the fact when they don't remember that Article 3 was for the school resource officer?
I can go back in and just drop the warrant.
Just drop the warrant articles
like
in.
I
Yeah.
did on my.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Oh,
will,
yeah,
Yes,
that-
yeah,
good
that will make
idea.
sense, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So I'll just drop those in.
Yep.
I mean,
Okay.
it's just a simple cut and paste and just drop them.
okay.
Yep.
Cool.
No trauma for your fingers.
This is interesting. The way it is worded sounded.
Okay, I gotta
like-
find
and it
Sounds, it
suggests
should be
it's
Article
sounds
9, I
like.
had the amount and we're missing it,
Yeah,
yeah. I
it
gotta go
should be
back and look
sounds
at the
like it.
warrant from last year.
We're not making those changes, I guess.
Why not?
Make more change. Where?
The way it is
Google
worded.
also recommends
Yeah.
some changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's highlighted in blue under.
Yep.
I
blue
gave
line
him one of
underneath.
those like that, yeah.
There's one under Article 2. There's
Oh,
also,
yeah,
Sounded.
sounds,
yep,
Sounds like.
sounds like.
there you go.
Yep,
And
okay.
there's
Yep.
one also up above in the very first paragraph.
Meeting was called.
Yeah, instead of
Called-
called
called
back.
to
it was
order.
Called to order.
Well,
But it was
except,
called back
Mr.
though.
it was-
Chair,
Yes.
can I make a recommendation at this point, because
Yeah.
we're picking through every single
Letting
one
her
of
do
these,
that.
that you let me go back in and update this,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
then we table this?
Yep,
Okay.
that's a good idea.
That
idea.
way, we're not going through every single one of these. So
Okay, that sounds
If you
good.
don't mind,
Yep.
let's
Nope.
table
Nope,
this one.
and we're
Okay,
pretty close
we got
now
a-
with this.
Good idea.
got a motion and a second on the table to approve.
I am
these?
going to rescind my
Yes,
second.
and first is good.
Okay, we have a motion to table.
Motion to table.
So I'll make a motion for Sherry to make the adjustments by adding the articles back into the document.
And these are
Any other corrections?
for the,
For the January 18th, 2020 town warrant public hearing.
okay, and to make the general corrections of.
And make the
of-
general corrections, yes.
All right,
Spelling.
So, we need a second.
okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, it's unanimous. We are tabling the approval of the January 18th minutes. Woo-hoo. It's done.
So let's go
All
to school.
right.
We
Still
need
have a
to
life?
go to
School one.
school.
Yep.
Oh.
So
Uh,
I
now
will make a
what?
motion to,
School.
for
on
the
18th.
January 18th school minutes, that Sherry also add the articles back into this one and the general changes.
And
I didn't
so-
have that one.
I don't have that one.
And that we table it until the next meeting.
Right, second.
All
Okay,
those-
yeah, can you send both of them to me then when you get them, please?
All those in favor of
Aye.
tabling
Aye.
and having Sherry make changes?
Aye.
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 And chair votes aye. I heard about 18 ayes. It is
Aye.
unanimous.
More than unanimous.
We want to make sure it was covered one
No,
way or
that whole
another.
quorum thing.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right, and I think that does it for the minutes.
Yes.
I need to find the minutes for the meeting of the 18th.
The meeting on the 18th. You
That
don't
was
have
what we
them?
just talked
Those
about.
ones we
No,
just tabled.
December 18th.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
That was a meeting that I wasn't here for, that
Okay.
it was unexpectedly not here.
You said December 18th?
Yes. Those are minutes that, was a meeting I wasn't here for. I believe Bob took the minutes.
Yep.
Oh,
I just
okay.
gotta,
Yes.
I just gotta find them. I looked for them last night and couldn't find them.
Yeah, no,
quickly.
then we don't
So-
set up.
So, okay. And let's see, let's go back to our agenda here and see where we're at. Okay, other business that may come before the board, if I might. We have a member who has submitted the resignation. Tammy Smith submitted her resignation, Saturday? That's when I got the email. All right, and she said she effective immediately, she's resigning her position on the budget committee, finding it increasingly difficult to meet the demands of working full-time, attending to the needs of the budget committee along with other priorities, competing for my time. She said it is becoming increasing difficult to work as a team on this committee, and I feel it's best to step aside. Respectfully, Tammy Smith. And unfortunately, I wish that we were down 2 members now, but if I had any part in that, I apologize. Yes, Mr.
Always for the record, to thank her for the time and energy she was able to commit, that the period for signing up is still open, will not end until Friday, and I always miss working with all people of goodwill.
Yep. Yes, Humphrey?
Yeah, I do know that I want to thank Tammy too, and I know that we're gonna have some more information in with what she's done. I want to address the fact that a lot of things get very personal this year, and I think that led to Tammy's resignation, that led to Bob's resignation. This is supposed to be businesslike. As we're making these cuts, it's not a personal thing, but I know a lot of people took things personally this year. And I think it became very, very difficult for a number of our members. We're still sitting here before everyone because I know we're elected to do a job here, and that's what it is. It's a job that we're trying to do here. And I, for one, really hated to see 2 people quit because of that type of activity, or I should say that the nature of what's going on here. I mean, to sit there and actually feel that the pressure is what's being done or how it's being applied is what's leading people to leave is not a good thing. We need to turn around and alleviate that for the future. So, I know Tammy put in the thing, and I will reluctantly make the motion to accept Tammy's resignation letter.
I'll second that with regret.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
When you think
Chair
how,
is
how you
Chair
and
is
I
gonna
have
vote in
found an
favor, but
8.5
he's,
by 11
doesn't
electronic
want
piece
to.
of paper.
I'm
Did
sorry, Tom, what did you say?
I said the chair will reluctantly accept the resignation.
That's why I said with regret. I
Yeah.
think that's too bad.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other business that may come before the board, Mr. Humphrey?
Yes, I know last week Dennis, Tammy, and I traveled out to Concord to meet with the Commissioner of Education, as well as, that was Frank Edelblatt, along with the Head of Special Education, Rebecca Fredette, and Caitlin Davis, the Head of the Financial. I don't remember the other woman's name that worked with both groups. But we met with them to discuss how to get the data. I know when we talked at the school board, there was a lot of confusion. I was, not wanting to give out personally identifiable information, and I know for myself, I understand that can't be done. But there was a lot of confusion as we were trying to ask questions such as, how many students are we talking about, or how many hours are we talking about? And after sitting with them briefly, and Rebecca Fredette made the comment that yes, we are supposed to be able to get the information on the number of students. If it gets down to below 10, then we're not supposed to. But I know we're up around 19.4%, so that's over 100 students that are getting some kind of special assistance. And when we're talking to them in regards to trying to figure out how do we know what the budget should be, to try to come up with some kind of cost. And this is for future. It's not gonna change anything we're doing this year, but it's hopefully gonna make it easier as we go forward into next year's budget season. They gave us the link to iPlatform, which gives us a history. I'm sure that the school board has seen this. I know I hadn't seen it, I hadn't heard about it, and I know Dennis hadn't, but I have used the link to that, and you can get a history on what everything is, from special education to the passing rates to all kinds of data. Not all of it's applicable to what we're doing here in the budget committee, but to try to figure out the numbers is definitely an applicable application for that. Yes, Peg?
We certainly have given you overall numbers. The number of high school, the number of middle school, and the number of elementary school students who have an IEP.
Okay, when I asked specifically for those numbers up there, I was told we couldn't have those numbers. And I asked for the hours involved, and I was told we couldn't have those. That happened in the meeting. We were told that no, we were not entitled to those numbers because it's federally protected.
Well, the
And-
actual number of students, yes. The,
Actual number of students, yes, what?
we have given them
Oh.
out before. I mean,
When we asked at that meeting,
okay,
it
then I
was
had.
very confusing because they said, no, we couldn't, because I said, look, I'm not trying to get personally identifiable information. And I know that's when I mentioned, having been a superintendent of training at the shipyard, was the same type of thing. I couldn't talk about individuals, but I could talk about them as a group. And when we asked at the time for the numbers, I was very confused, because I know at the meeting here, we had the public hearing, that when a member of the public asked, she was told, yep, just call us, we'll give you the numbers. And I was very confused, because it was a very specific question up there at the meeting with the school, and was told no. So, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, it's just that I know that that was very important to try to get that kind of information in the hours, to factor in the cost for students.
And it's not necessarily to reduce the cost, it's to just
Understand?
understand why it may be a number that it is.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Brown?
That, you can reverse engineer. If you have paras assigned, you can work backwards. What I think would be very useful, and I will come down again once more on the side of one 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, which comes from the person with authority to make the procedural and policy statement from New Hampshire DOE, that the following information is available and may be provided, shall be provided by the school districts at such and such a level. And the following exceptions apply. Where a reasonable person may determine the identity of a single student by the accumulation of data relative to either transportation, special aids, nursing, or such. If you have that, then the school board and Nathan, in making a reply, is free of liability that they did not violate a confidence or regulation of DOE. So that I know that sounds very, very legalese and very formal, but I still have my little state of New York teachers union card. I taught especially.
And no, Larry, I completely agree with you, and
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, when I went back, and that's, because I did a lot of research to try to find this, before we went to talk with them, and I wanted to be very clear on why, because it was just to make sure that we weren't violating any requirements. If we had, because there's a CFR 2019 Title 300, Volume 2, Section 300-160, which we can quote right here. Yes. But again, that does tell you right in there that the number of students, the hours, and all that goes into it. And we went up there to talk to them because it was like, okay, we want to make sure that we're not going to violate any requirements. But if we're going to try to figure out a budget, it's easy to know the number of students and what it costs per student is a way to figure out a cost. If we have a general cost expectation for what it's gonna cost for regular students, what it's gonna cost for special education students, then when we know what the numbers are, or when we know what the hours are going to be for some of these IEPs, we have an understanding of what that cost is gonna be. Not down to an exact dollar, but a general idea. Because, you know, we wanna be able to say, if it's $1 million, and I'm gonna throw that out there as a big number for special education, and I'm not saying that's a big number, but if that's the number based on this, then we have data to back that up. But if we don't have data to back it up, it's very hard to get behind the budget. So,
Mr. Chair, for those in our home audience who may have noted me banging my head against the table, CFR stands for
Code of
Code of Federal Regulation.
correct.
May it writhe in hell 1,000 years.
Okay, do we have anything else to report on that trip?
Not on that particular one, I've got the other ones.
The only thing I think it was important to add as far as special education goes, one of the things that we always talk at length about is the just-in-case number that's added to the budget,
Yep.
which seems, it's one of those items that, of course, if it doesn't happen, it's kind of like an over budget kind of thing, and those are things we were trying to focus in on.
Right.
Using the practice that we tried to use this year. The suggestion, and correct me if I'm wrong, was, the suggestion by the special education director was that most towns have some kind of contingency.
Which is the one that we
Money.
use, yeah, which is what we
Right.
use here, as the basis for if it overruns.
Right,
Yep.
and all of that money that we typically might see in the budget line items themselves would go into that contingency area as opposed to being in the budget. So if it doesn't get spent, if you don't have unexpected special education costs, it doesn't get added into the budget, which goes to set the tax rate. Am I saying that right?
To try to clarify, in other words, her comment was, when she's done this, she doesn't put extra money in the budget and then put extra money in the contingency fund.
Correct.
She makes sure that they have the standardized budget on what it's been, what the normal projections are, and the contingency fund covers anything over and above the regular cost. And I'm not saying that the school budget here did that, it's just that not to try to cover it in both places.
Now, when she talks about contingency, would that be like because we have a capital reserve fund that's for.
There is a-
and
that is
that's
what is-
what the
Yes.
contingency.
That's what
When
the
she's
fund
talking
is.
contingency, that's what she means.
Yes,
Is this-
exactly.
Okay. all right.
We
Yeah, so-
likened it or
Yeah.
arrived at the likening of.
That's
of
the
it
article,
to
the warrant article
the-
that we
A
have.
capital reserve fund
Right.
for special education.
Okay, Mr. Brown.
The capital reserve is an assigned, dedicated, and not transferable cost
Yeah.
to a specific task or purpose. The contingency is still a raise and appropriate fund that is part of the calculation of the entire budget. So labeling it contingency on a gross basis is still something that would be raised and appropriated.
Right.
It's a trust. What I'm working on, and it will be slow going, is when you have a bond, you have a interest cost and an interest rate, which are determined over 20 years, which will involve 10 years down the road people who move into town participating in the same costs that we are right now. The reserve funds are, as I'm trying to work through for myself, I think, and anybody can play, an informal bond market, self-generated and self-paid by the town, and it is funded in part by revenues that come in to the town for its vehicles, which come in from unanticipated sources, which come in from funds returned at the end of the year. And what I think would be a great task is to figure out what those costs are, which are separate from the tax rate every year, compared to the cost of a bond to the same amount over X years. When I get a better handle on that, we'll be back in touch. But
Give me a call.
Somewhere, there's got to be a positive value of being able to generate the unassigned fund balance, the rainy day fund, out of an operating budget continuing basis, rather than being stuck with a TANs bill for funding the first 3 months of the year because you're uncertain about your tax revenues. And that's where I'm going. Don't hold your breath.
Yes, Ms. Baker.
Okay, at this point, and this report that we all got really is only through, even though the top of it says through 12/31, it was printed on 12/20, so. Anyway, special ed
But you won't break then, so it may be accurate.
is 0.3% remaining out of the original budget. What I am looking at going through here is, because we were on a default budget this year, we had $1 just as a line keeper, line opener for elementary special ed tuition. We do have a student out. So we are $86,000 in the hole on that one. Middle school, we had budgeted $49,000. We have a couple students out. We are now $110,000 in the hole. So I guess I'm just saying it is probably the least predictable department in all of our budget, and that, you want to call it a contingency fund, we never know whether we have to get into it to make sure that we cover, because if a student needs to go out, a student needs to go out.
I do know, just to clarify, the contingency parts are wording.
Okay.
We know
It-
there's a trust fund.
Right.
That is established, and
It's
that's
a
why I
fund
was trying to say
balance,
it's a
right.
trust fund for that. Rebecca Fredette's words were, they understand that that's being done, and that needs to be done in towns, because you don't know the predictability of what's going to be coming in.
Right.
You may know how, you know how many you have currently. You may know that you've got so many leaving, for instance, all right? As they leave the high school or whatever it might be, but you don't know necessarily what's going to change as people come in. That is the reason why that's an important
Right.
part there. I think the key to what we were saying is, we understand that, but it's, don't try to build it into two places, is the only thing she was saying. And maybe you need to turn around and identify that more needs to go into that fund if it looks like we're going to be dangerously low. Because I understand that. Special education's a tough thing to predict. Okay?
Yeah. When I was in Rochester, met with the superintendent one day, and there were 14 new special ed students who came in. All 14 needed to be sent out. To a tune of $700,000. You know, and his question to me basically was, yeah, because we were in the middle of negotiations. And it's like, right, but you do need some teachers to teach the other kids who are in the district.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I mean, it just, it's a never ending, I mean, it's just a moving target all the time, but anyway, yes. We should be able to tell you, and I will be more than happy to give you the breakdown, the number of special ed students, because we got the, whatever, the percentage there.
Well,
But-
it comes out to almost exactly 100.
Yeah, it was 19.4%
Right, but I mean-
out of 514
Okay.
students.
Can I finish? Thank you. How many are elementary? How many are middle school? And how many are high school? How many, we do know, and off the top of my head, and I was looking through all my paperwork, because I usually bring everything with me, how many are out and where they are. And I do believe that might have even been in the booklet
Yeah, I
this
think
year,
we
which
have
I did
some-
not.
yeah, I think we
You
have
do
some.
Which I
have some
do not
stuff in
have it,
there
yeah.
as far as where they've gone to other
Yeah,
locations
yeah.
is in there.
Now, if I might ask, okay, numbers say there's roughly 100 that are special ed. Can you also could we look at that and say that means that there's 100 IEPs, or could one student have 3 IEPs?
It would be one IEP, but it could have all sorts of different things.
Okay.
I could have an IEP that just means I need OT,
Yeah,
occupational
yeah.
therapy.
Okay, so
You could have an IEP that says
you need help. spelling.
You're an engineer.
you need all sorts of help because you're an engineer and you know you get that
But
brain.
but what I mean is that a student would have whatever their plan is. It would be one IEP, regardless of whether
Right.
they
Right.
need help with their handwriting or whether they need help with 18 different things.
Right.
That's one. So, 'cause in the back of my mind, I was wondering, well, maybe instead of students, you look at number of IEPs, but IEP equals student. So
Yeah.
Right.
it's student. Okay.
Right, and each student, I mean, having the education background, working with an awful lot of special ed students, team of teachers, including the special ed teacher for students, get together with the parents, you know, the whole bit. What does this student need? A student could come into, say, middle school, and their IEP had them having occupational therapy and speech therapy.
Yeah.
They get to middle school, and, you know, after a couple of months, time to look at the IEP, they don't need occupational therapy anymore. You know, I mean, I had a student who did not have an IEP. I mean, this is the funniest thing. I mean, loved the boy, but we were making Measurement Man. Okay? And the kids had all cut out their pieces of construction paper and they were making, you know, quarts and pints and cups and everything. He had an entire roll of tape all over the table he was working on. And I went over and was like, ah. And you know what? I know how to cut tape off a tape dispenser. I didn't know how to tell him how to do it. It was just one of those things that. So I recommended him for occupational therapy, and he ended up having it. And you know what? His mother thanked me because
Saved a lot of tape.
well, wasn't the
Which
tape? It was
reduced
just
the supply budget.
right,
Right.
tremendous amount.
All right. Okay.
Anyway.
By the way, just to clarify, I found the numbers we were looking for. That's the elementary students, 244 students,
Yeah.
and the special needs requirements is approximately 46 students out of that
Out of the
100.
numbers. When you go to the iReport, you can get to those things.
Yeah.
That's why I
okay.
did.
Yeah.
We were talking about that.
Yep.
so
All right.
quick about that.
Mr. Brown, you have something?
I don't think the horse
You just
is
said
still
that.
breathing. But anyway,
District.
one of the
And then
nice
elementary
things
is
that
separate.
has happened is
Yeah.
those things which are amenable to linear planning, numbers that can be tracked, and if you have 12 on January 1st, you have 0 left on December 31st. Nice. For the IEP, how it starts out is you will either have someone coming in from the Little Rams program, what used to be Bright Beginnings, or they will move into the district. They may or may not have a program to begin with. We have observation from the classroom teacher. You may or may not have a psychologist's report. You may have a person who has visible physical difficulties moving. You may have very quickly a staff assessment that the person has severe behavioral problems. You bring a multi-staff meeting together. You have the input of the school nurse. You have the input of the psychologist. You have the special ed person. You have the regular teacher. You may or may not have a para present. You have the parents or guardian of the person. What you wind up with is a 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 11. And each of the professional disciplines is required to put together a plan of work and a sign-off. That becomes the individualized written program that gets reviewed nominally at 3-month intervals or as major circumstance changes. That is an abysmal amount of paperwork. And that is what you're looking at that's not coming from head. It doesn't matter whether the kid is going to stop gnawing his fingernails to the bone, or whether or not they are just a person. Everything else is working. They cannot toilet themselves, and you will have an IEP specific to the problems at hand. That takes time and money. It is endless. And occasionally you win, and somebody makes it back. And I spent the last employment years in what Community Partners is doing, voc rehab, because everybody eventually either gets a diploma or ages out. And with age out, there is hell to pay if you do not have resources. You've spent 20 years building a vegetable, and that's a disaster on a social basis.
All right, Mr. Humphrey, do you have anything else on the
Not
trip?
from school, not from the trip, no.
Okay.
And that, but other than, like I said,
Yeah.
they said any help we ever need,
Yeah.
they're more than
And-
willing to.
And they also suggested that for the school board to use them.
Right.
To call that office
Yep.
with any questions and use them as a sounding board or
Yep.
just for information or checking in on anything.
Yeah, they were very open.
They were very helpful. I mean, we walked into that room and there's like, it was what, 5 people? 4 or 5 representatives there of different
Yep.
different areas of education.
And the commissioner had the computer stuff open so he could go
Yeah.
back and make sure that we had everything we needed as we were going along.
So they were very
Yeah.
helpful, and I won't say we gleaned a lot of information
No,
from it.
but we needed.
But just, individual pieces were enough so we can kind of fit them into the puzzle, so to speak.
Did you get the free Danish?
Free what?
Danish.
Danish?
Danish.
No.
Danish.
no.
Second
No.
trip.
No, and I will
got
say
nothing.
this though, I mean, they were so helpful that when we were trying to figure out the dates,
Yeah,
I was able to contact Caitlin Davis and says, "Hey, what?" And they weren't aware. This is how they were not aware of the
Yeah.
dates that came from the Department of Revenue as far as when
Yeah,
we had
that's-
to post for the deliberative session. It was like
Yeah.
that was news to them too, so it was kind of a reverse. They got something that we didn't have,
Yeah, I
that we
will-
had.
Wow.
I will stand up and say I dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, well, I will say though, to kind of follow on, that I do know that for our next meeting, I have some of these things that I'd like us to be able to put
Yep.
out there so that we will have it ready, because I do have the technical assistance for towns too.
Yep.
This is from the Department of Revenue, that's where all of this came from, and gave me the links to the other ones. I'm gonna send that to everybody.
Tom, I guess what I don't understand is that Nathan actually sent out an email to the budget committee saying it is in the folder at the town
But it-
hall.
But it was
the question-
needed that day.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
question
it was-
was
it was
why,
like-
we didn't it was, when you looked up, what is this? Oh, it's due after the deliberative session. It was confusion as to when.
It
the
shows
date
that it's
is
due 20 days after
Yeah.
the annual
Yeah.
meeting, is what it
Which
shows.
was well, okay, why can't we do it at our regular meeting? And it was, I'll stand up and say, yeah, I.
Okay, all right, because there
We
was
thought
no,
we were gonna be
there's
able to-
no notice about the
Yeah.
town is
Yeah.
what I guess
Yeah.
I'm saying. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you send out the email, and I called Danielle,
And she said, I don't have it anymore.
and she goes, it's down at town hall, and,
Yeah.
and I called down here thinking, okay, maybe I can make it down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, no, that was.
So Michelle called,
it- we-
Michelle called me on
Yeah,
Sunday.
Totally took us by surprise. I had totally forgotten about it.
Yeah, okay.
I had it in my mind it was due after the.
We couldn't sign it because we were on the road to Concord.
Yeah, and that's what
On
got us-
Saturday?
Yeah.
No, on that
No, the
Thursday
school.
that was needed.
The school.
The
Oh, the
school one, and then
school,
I ended up
okay.
going up. But to touch on that, we shouldn't be coming down to that last minute. I even went out and found out that last year, the stuff wasn't signed till the 29th of January, so when I was talking to Tom, I'm going, this makes no sense. Last year's meeting was it was signed 2 days after we're trying to sign this here, and the meeting was a day earlier. A day later, so you're going, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So-
It's the DRA, sorry.
Yeah, it was just. And it was
They're
like
random.
this- Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were trying to say, okay, 20 days before, 20 days after, 20 days.
And it's
after.
not, by the
Nothing
way,
made sense.
it
Yeah.
does say 7, and by the way, all the documents say 7 days before, but then they posted this the 27th.
Yeah.
Which doesn't fall in, because we kept going, is it 7 business days? It's like, it doesn't matter. That would have
Yeah.
been, that would have been tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's why we were trying to figure out why
Yeah,
we
it
couldn't
was-
sign here at
it
our
was-
meeting.
It was, anyway, well.
Yep, but now we
They're
know what's
done,
out there.
both of them are done, and they're
Yeah.
off, and the DRA is happy,
Yeah, and
and,
we will have to do it again following the
Okay.
deliberative session.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and which is probably the one I remember signing.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything, other business to come before the board?
Public comment or question, which is Monday night, Selectmen's meeting. There will be a public hearing for the citizens petition for the tax cap, and there will also be a public hearing on changes in town ordinance to follow what is state RSA on the poll tax. That's POLE, having to do with how the 1 square foot of telephone pole space and associated structures is taxed by the town.
So they're not
And-
charging us a poll,
No,
POLL
no,
tax
the,
to vote.
there is a tremendous fight when you consider how many 100,000 telephone poles there are owned by New England Telephone Company. There's a golden oldie, which
Remember
is
that
now,
one.
yeah, now Eversource or Unitil or Con Ed. There is a fight how to tax them and how the utility company gets back the taxed value of the taxation that is on their poles. Honest.
So
we were
just,
doing-
just remember this when you pass it and your electric bill goes up next year.
Right. We were doing this. One of
Oh.
the first things I did in 2005 was work on the poll tax on municipal and county government. So it's
Okay.
15 years.
All right, any other business? Do we have any public comment? Come on, we got a member of the public, Mr.
Come on,
Brown.
public.
February 8th.
Speak up.
February 8th, 9 a.m. The deliberative
Deliberative
session
session.
for the town. 1 p.m. deliberative session for the school. Saturday, February 8th.
Tell your friends.
And, yeah, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. That
Place
is your
to speak
opportunity
up. Relatives.
to change things, if you want things changed.
Go
That
Tigers.
is your last opportunity.
Last chance.
And it is something that is very unique to New England town government. You not able to do that in California, I can guarantee you. Okay,
Would you like me to read that? Introduction to business?
Oh, yes, please, thank you. That should finally.
sure.
We've been, sorry,
All right.
Sherry, did you fall
Yeah.
asleep over there for us, honey, or what? Okay, good, thank you.
The posting, or in the program of studies, which was, I believe, approved by the school.
Right.
Introduction to Business, grades 11 and 12. This course is a project running start course, which will allow students to receive 3 college credits through Great Bay Community College upon successful completion. This course will investigate the world of business, how it all works, and what types of careers can be pursued within it. Practical case studies about popular businesses will be reviewed. This course is a must for anyone interested in pursuing a career in business or a business degree after school, high school. This is also worth 0.5 credits.
So it is,
That's good.
So it's 3 college credits, but it also applies to the students as credit.
right,
And
and
it's
it's,
half
it's
credit.
got to be an elective at half a credit.
It
Yeah.
isn't,
Okay,
it is an elective, it's
Yep.
under business education.
yep, okay, good.
Okay. All right, our next regularly scheduled budget meeting will be the 25th of February. That is the 4th Tuesday of February. That is after the deliberative session, so we'll have a chance to talk about it then. And Any more business? Seeing no hands being raised, we have a motion.
I'll make a motion to
I'll
adjourn.
second that.
Humphrey and Peg. Mr. Brown?
Oh.
We will be meeting as the budget committee formally for the day of the
Yes.
deliberative.
Yes,
Okay.
yep,
And
Oh. Ooh,
yes. Yes, Peg.
because.
Just when we think we're all done.
I know, I'm sorry, but because I'm on the budget committee and I will be there for the morning and then for the school board in the afternoon, we meet with our attorney at noon time.
Okay.
So I know in the past, we've never quite finished the town by noon, so, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So anyway, just to let you all know that I will
We
be.
should still have a quorum, so.
Okay.
All right, okay, now, anything else?
Try this one more time, yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, it's unanimous, we're done.
Phew.
and to the brave five of us who remain, thank you.